Hello, beautiful creatives. Welcome back to Beginner's Mind, Art Mind. I'm Linda Marcel, and this is the channel where we transform the adversity in our lives through creativity. And this week, I have a really exciting video for you because the Cenex acrylic gouache has finally arrived in the country, and I'm so happy. I can't wait to try it. You guys probably remember months ago, I started talking about Cenex coming out with an acrylic gouache, and it was hung up in customs for so long, but it's finally arrived. It's available to everyone, and this week we're going to test it out. Okay, so while I was waiting for my mic to charge, I'll show you a couple of things that I did. First of all, the paints came with these cute little stickers. So I'm actually going to put one of these on the sketchbook that I'm almost finished with right now. Should I put it crooked or straight? Like at an angle? I think I'll put it straight. So you get some cute little stickers with it. And I'll put these on my other sketchbooks. I got a nice note from Yuri. And then the paints. And this book is so close to full. And you guys know how much I love my regular Cenex gouache. And that's what these are. These jars are the regular gouache. And I painted the tops of the acrylic gouache ones so that I would be able to tell the difference in my draw. But these are the paints that I keep in my little transom palette, which is actually almost empty now. So you can't put the acrylic gouache in your transom palette. But I have for ages used the Cenex regular gouache in my transom palette. And you've seen so many videos where I have done paintings from with the Cenex gouache, and I've done a lot of sketchbook tours, and you guys know how much I love it. So that is the gouache that I've been using. And this is the new gouache. And for those of you that might be new to my channel, I thought before I get going on this, I would just show you what I do. My viewers that have been watching for a while know this, but when I get a new set of paints that are in a jar or a new set of mediums where the lids tend to stick, what I do is I just wipe off any paint that might have gotten on there with a damp paper towel from shipping, and then I take a very, very small amount of coconut oil. I mean like a very small amount, and put it on my finger, and I rub it around the edge of the jar. And I mean a small amount, because especially in the heat of the summer, if you wad too much on there, it's just going to melt down onto your label and make a mess. And I've done that before. I have had, things that I overcoated with the oil and it just melted down. But this will forever, as long as you keep it clean and recoat it with oil, like when you use it, if your rim gets dirty, just wipe it off, and it wipes off really easy because of the oil. And if your oil starts to get wiped off, just add another little touch of oil. It's a lifesaver if you have arthritis in your hands. I can't tell you how easy jars are to open when you have that on there. So that was what I did while I was waiting for my battery to charge. I got some water, and I got my swatch book. And I am going to set up a page to swatch out these paints and see what we think. I actually should put a link of, if I can find the video, I'll put a link above or in the video description, or maybe both, of the video where I swatched out the regular Cenex gouache so that you can see that too. Or maybe I'll do some side by side. I'm not sure, but let me get set up. Okay, so I got my trusty swatch book out, and this has so many different products swatched in. That was the Milang. That must have been the second set. Yeah, this was the reformulated set. Anyways, lots of stuff. And somewhere in here, I should have, this was when I filled this with Cenex gouache, and I think somewhere, yes, this was my first swatching. of the regular Senex gouache. So that's fun to be able to look at that, look at the colors that were in that set. I think Scarlet is not in this new acrylic set, and maybe Cerulean Blue and the bright green. Oh, and it looks like the deep yellow is not in this set. So there's a few differences. There's a different green. Well, it is called olive green, huh? It just looks like a different color to me. We'll see how it swatches out. But yeah, so a few colors that aren't in this acrylic set. But anyways, lots of swatching has gone on in this book. I love this. I love to keep it all together. This is just a cheap, no-name sketchbook from Ocean State Job Lot, which is kind of like a, I don't know, a buyout store. Not quite a dollar store, but... Right, so I am gonna zoom in on this. Now, normally when I paint using my Senex, I use this. I use what the paints I have in this. Sometimes if I'm gonna use a bigger painting, I will take like my palette paper. I'll take like a palette paper pad like that, or a palette like that, and put the gouache into that, because I don't like to dip into the jars. I really don't like to pollute my paint, because, you know, then when you really want a crisp, clear color, you're sort of out of luck. So, but this, for the color swatching, I think I'm probably going to dip into the jars and just wash my brush real good, but I don't recommend doing that normally. So it looks like in the original set of gouache, including the white, there was 16 jars. I did notice one of the other colors that were missing. So there's 11 in here in this set. So it looks like the deep yellow is missing. There is vermilion. There is crimson. So it looks like scarlet, the sap green, the cerulean blue. And the only other one that isn't there is the gray. And you can mix your own gray. So that's not really a problem. I think the only two that I think I would really miss, well, actually the only one really that I would really miss would be the cerulean blue. And I don't know that they're not going to come out with that. They may actually come out with that. I'd like to have the deep yellow, but you know, you can mix a warm yellow with the vermilion and the lemon yellow. But I do like that deep yellow a lot. So I'm kind of sad that's not there. But let's see what these look like. Get some paper towels out. I did get out a palette paper in case I decide to do some tints and tones. But let's go. Let's see what these look like. I got my water cleaned out. And this is the mid yellow. So consistency, maybe I should get out the other gouache and compare it. It holds a peak in the jar, but it is, I believe it's more fluid than the other gouache. I think it definitely is. I'll get out the other jar and show you, but if you can see, it does hold a peak. So let's see. Ooh. Wow. I wonder if I should have put a line so we could test opacity. Maybe I should do that, huh? Okay, so we'll try that. See what happens when we go over that line. Okay. Now maybe I will grab the yellow jar. I feel so disorganized today. Ooh, sun's coming in. Maybe I'll have to draw my shade. But now this is lemon yellow. This is mid yellow. Oh, interesting. What was that color that I said? Yeah, deep yellow. Okay, so the colors are a little different. So this is mid yellow and this is lemon yellow, and that's the difference in consistency. This is very thick, and I love this. I love, love, love how thick this is. That is just yummy. But I know a lot of you love the thinner viscosity paints. So this is the viscosity of this one. It is definitely more fluid. So those of you that love the fluid paints are going to like that. And I'm actually even wondering if I can mix these with the other ones as an experiment. That might be fun to do. So, okay, that is the mid yellow. I'll put that over to the side. This is yellow ochre. I made these such big swatches because I was thinking of doing tints and tones, but I think what I'll end up doing is doing that on a separate piece of paper or in a separate video. Crimson, crimson first. There is a slight smell to them. Oh, I can't think of what it reminds me of. The regular gouache has a smell that reminds me of tempera paints. You know, tempera egg paints. That's a pretty benign smell. This has a little bit of an ammonia smell. It's pretty light, but if you're super sensitive, you might want to try one jar first and then see, you know, if the smell affects you, and then try another jar. I never really keep a whole bunch of jars open in front of me, so when products have a slight smell, it tends not to bother me. Because I just have, you know, like if I have this open, there's such a small amount of paint in there, or if I have them spread out on a palette sheet, a paper palette sheet, you know, it's so little paint that's out at a time, I find. But I'm sniffing this. There is an odor. I just can't think of what it reminds me of. I think it might be like an ammonia smell. Oh, ultramarine. I keep grabbing the wrong one. Ultramarine. Big swatches we're doing today. Again, that's the viscosity. So they're all transparent. This is the Provence. This is the olive green. Burnt sienna. They're super creamy. Burnt umber. This is a little thicker. You know, the earth tones tend to be a little bit drier and thicker all across the board in paints usually. And then black. I wonder why I did black and white there. I could have done another row. I think I'll just do black here, and then I don't know why I did it that way, but that's the black. Ooh, that's thicker. Thicker, or I just picked up more. Very opaque. And then the white. Just cross that off with the white. And then white. Oh, I forgot to put a line down to see how opaque it was. Gosh, so disorganized today, guys. Let's put a line here. Okay, let's try this again. So they're all pretty transparent. And the regular gouache is more opaque. Just for the heck of it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of paper, just a scrap paper, and I'll try putting a dark line. Let's, what I really need is like a Sharpie. Okay, so I'm just going to put some lines down this paper with a Sharpie. And then I'll take just a couple of colors. I'm not going to do this for all the colors, but this is the, let me just make sure I don't get mixed up. This is the regular gouache in ultramarine. So you can see the viscosity of that is very thick and very opaque. And you can layer this pretty thick. This is their regular gouache. I have that sun coming in. Maybe I should close my shade. Might be affecting what you guys see. I hate to close my shades on a sunny day. Okay, so that is the ultramarine blue in the regular gouache. Okay, so this is the ultramarine blue in the acrylic gouache. It's a different color, and it's much more transparent and much thinner. So like I said, those of you that like the thinner transparent paints would like that, but if you are used to the regular Cenex gouache, you have to be aware that this is really different, very different from the regular gouache. Okay, so that's the acrylic. Let's just try, just for kicks and giggles, let's try the regular gouache in the yellow. Again, really thick, super duper thick. Woo! Had a lot on my brush there. And that's kind of the way I've been painting with this gouache. It's very thick, and it's held up really well. It hasn't cracked on me. I mean, I haven't gotten ridiculously thick with it, but it hasn't cracked on me. So I love it. Love, 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 love this regular gouache. Okay, and let's do, so that one is the lemon yellow in the regular gouache. This is the mid yellow in the acrylic gouache. Sorry guys, my brain ain't working today. It's on vacation. That is the acrylic gouache. We'll just do one more comparison. This is the vermilion in the regular gouache, the original. Whoops, tipping over the jar. Okay, so that's the thick vermilion. I should stir these. Cenex recommends that if you haven't used the jar in a while, that you should stir them as maintenance. Since I've been working out of here for the last few months, I probably should stir my original gouache. So that was vermilion. So let's see, this is vermilion and the acrylic gouache. I have a very annoying fly that is bugging me. Okay, so that is the difference between the regular. Maybe I'll hit this with the dryer so I can show them to you dry. Okay, so there they are dry. Pretty much, there's a little bit wet there, and that's what they look like. Regular gouache, acrylic gouache, regular acrylic. So you can see the difference. The regular is thicker and more opaque, like you would expect gouache to be. Although, you know, some of them are transparent, like the vermilion in the regular gouache, and the yellow is semi-transparent, but the acrylic gouaches are transparent. Now, it would be fun to see what happens if we put a second layer on these. I don't want to get mixed up here because mix up which is which, but you can really actually tell by how thick the regular gouache is. So let's just see what a second coat does. Oops, got a lot there. Stays pretty transparent. You know, yellow's a pretty transparent color. It was even transparent, semi-transparent in the thick one. All right, and vermilion. Second coat. And ultramarine blue, we'll do a second coat. And give those a dry. Okay, so this is how it panned out. Regular gouache, acrylic gouache. So I don't know if this is going to show well. I just closed my blind to get the sun. So this is 1 coat, 2 coats, 3 coats of the acrylic gouache. Regular gouache, and then acrylic gouache, 1 coat, 2 coats, and the very bottom is 3 coats. Just stuck my hand in wet gouache. And so this one is the 1 coat, 2 coat, and 3 coats. There is a difference. I don't know if you can see, you know, that it becomes more opaque the more layers that you use. So that was just a test to see how the opacity built on itself with more layers. And this is all of the colors swatched. And I was thinking it might be fun to play with some tints and tones, just to see how it acts with the black and the white, mixed with the black and the white. So I might do some of that. One thing I was thinking of when I was swatching this out is how much it reminds me of Golden's Fluid acrylics. And I thought just for the heck of it, I would put some of the Golden Fluid acrylics down just to, I haven't used these in a little while, so just to remind me. Oh yeah, viscosity-wise, if you love Golden Fluid acrylics, this is very much, I'm just cleaning this off before I close it. This is very much like that in viscosity. Yeah. The difference being that the golden acrylics will dry shiny and the Cenex will dry flat, which is what I really enjoy, is the flat. This is not the same red, and it's actually not the same yellow, but I'm just trying to show you the viscosity and transparency of golden. Very similar to the viscosity and transparency. Wow, very interesting. And then this one is Golden's Ultramarine Blue. Yep. Well, that ultramarine blue is, I did actually put a real lot of this down, in all fairness. But I'll put it thicker at the bottom to mimic that we did multiple coats. This ultramarine blue does look more opaque than the Cenex one. Well, we'll see how this dries. Let me see how it dries. Okay, so that's the golden. This is the Cenex. Nope, sorry, the AGs are the ones that are acrylic. So that's the acrylic, and the acrylic. And then that is the golden. The difference being that the Cenex will dry flat and the golden is drying shiny. Has a sheen to it. Not sure if it's showing up in here, but it's quite shiny when I tip it into the light. And this is super flat. And I really do prefer the flat. So yeah, it's interesting how similar it is to the golden. Another thing that's interesting is I just smelled this. I kept thinking the smell of this paint really reminded me of something. And I just smelled this golden ultramarine blue, and it smells exactly like the Cenex. It has a slight ammonia smell to it, the golden. The difference is the golden paints that I've had for a very long time have a little bit of a different smell. So I don't know if just as they age, the smell wears off a little bit. It's interesting. They kind of all smell a little different. But I did notice that the ultramarine blue smelled almost exactly like the Cenex, and it's a little bit of an ammonia smell. It's not overly strong, but it's just there. So that's something to compare it to. Okay, so we've compared the viscosity, opacity, and pigmentation on the original Cenex, the Cenex Acrylic Gouache, and the golden. And then what I did was I filmed mixing tints, tones, and shades for my Patreon viewers. And that video should be up next week for my patrons, where you can see me take the black, the gray, and the white and show exactly how many colors that you can mix just by doing this simple exercise. So that is the tints, tones, and shades. And this is the swatching. Really pretty colors. I started to really have fun with them when I did the tints, tones, and shades, because that's how I would use them. With the white, the black, and gray to get more opacity with them, which, look at these colors. I think maybe what I'll do is pop the camera off in case you can see the colors better with me holding the camera. So I'm going to give that a try. Okay, so here is a close-up of the colors. Look at that gorgeous, that's like a Payne's gray, blue, these greens, gorgeous. These purples, oh, like so pretty. That dark purple, what a great shadow color. Love this color. Yeah, this was definitely worth doing. I highly recommend doing this with your paints because you discover these great colors, you know? And then you can further dilute them. Like I did on a couple of these. Like, I'd love to see that color with some more white in it. You know, this would be, you know, it's just, they're just gorgeous. Like this with the white. Oh, love those colors. Okay, guys, I really hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed this introduction to Cenex paints. You know, I just love their original gouache, and it's been really fun trying out this acrylic gouache. I would love to see them come out with an acrylic gouache that is as thick as their regular gouache. But then again, I don't know. This was kind of fun to play with something thinner, more like Golden's fluid acrylics. So it is fun to kind of change things up once in a while. We get used to working in one way, and we can get stuck in patterns of working. So it really is nice to try something completely different from what you're used to. All right, guys, I hope you have a great creative week, and I will talk to you in the next video. Oh, our secret word. What are we going to use for our secret word? Cenex. Why don't we use Cenex for our secret word? S-E-N-E-X. Cenex. And, okay, I will see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.